one of the best lessons I learned is that, when everyone's doing one thing, look for the opposite. And so you talk about 07, 08, I actually started investing in real estate when everyone was struggling in real estate and everyone was telling me it was a bad investment, right? And I look at every sort of recession or change, and change always brings about opportunity if we're aware of it.
You are tuned in to the Money Script Podcast. Today we will share strategies to help you grow your financial literacy and improve your money script. I'll be back with some important announcements. Until then, enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Money Script Podcast. It's your host, Yohance Harrison. I am so happy to be with each and every one of you today. If this is your first time tuning into the Money Script Podcast, again, Yohance Harrison, Yohance, if you want to be fancy. I am a financial advisor. I've been helping people bring their financial goals more into their own reality. I do that by helping them bring more alignment between their values, their goals, and their financial behaviors. And I've been doing it for almost 25 years. Yes, a quarter of a century. And I know I look so healthy and youthful. But it's been a journey. It's been a joy. And we created this podcast so that we can bring financial literacy to more people. So I like to bring on different guests each week so they can talk about their experiences with whatever business that they've created or any job that they have. And we've been across many different walks, many different careers and individuals and what they've been doing. And today I have a really good friend of mine, and not just a friend, also someone that used to coach me. So you may remember a friend of his that we had on the show a few weeks back from 2X. And today we have Tom Sylvester, who also coached me in the 2X program. Tom, how are you? Welcome to the Money Script Podcast.
I'm doing great. And I just got to say, I'm so excited to be here. I wish I had some of this knowledge years ago because it would have saved me so much on my journey.
This is why I do it. So people at least get a little dose of the knowledge. You're not going to get all the answers in this podcast. You're just not. You're not going to get all the answers. We should at least prompt you to ask some more questions and give you some resources so that you can start to find those answers. And that resource may be, you may need to find a financial advisor. I mean, that's okay. I have a leaky, what do you call those things? Faucets in my backyard. And I've tried everything. It still leaks. I'm just going to call a plumber. Now, could I go watch YouTube and potentially figure it out? Yes, I could go to YouTube University and I could probably figure out how to change my faucet. But A, I just don't want to do it. And B, I know that someone that does it all the time is probably going to do it faster. It's going to be less likely that they do it wrong. And they're going to do it for a reasonable price. And I'm okay with paying for something if it's a reasonable price so that I don't have to do it and that I know it's going to get done right. Because guess how many times I've changed a faucet on the outside of my house? Survey?
Not very
Zero. Zero. I've done it 0 times. Now, how many bathroom faucets have I changed? A dozen. Dozens, probably. My father was a contractor and did that a few times. Kitchen faucets. Let's go. I'll do that in 10, 15 minutes. Not a big deal. But that outdoor faucet that's like glued and drilled into the brick. I did go to YouTube University. I did. And I looked for a second. I was like, nah, I'm a higher professional.
And you bring up a good point there is I always look at, I'm like, first, we got to be aware of the problem, right? Because if you don't even know that thing leaks, that could go on for years and then it's going to be much bigger. So I think the most important thing is, one, are you aware of the problem? And then to your point too, what I've really learned over time is like, hey, has somebody else solved this? And can they do it better, faster, cheaper than me? And in most cases, the first answer is always yes. Someone else has already solved a problem I have. And then second, I found I'm way better to be in my zone and let everyone else be in their zone and support me.
Indeed. Agreed, Tom. So as you can see, Tom is a wealth of knowledge. This is why I asked him to join the show. So thank you again, Tom, for doing it. Before we get into a little bit more of what you do, because we've got a special treat for you today. Yes, we prepped a little bit. Yeah, I know y'all know a lot of times I'm going off the cuff, just jumping in and having a conversation and letting you be a part of it. Today we planned a little something. We're going to have some fun, but let's talk about our current event because it is right now. Well, I say it's current because it's happening to us right now, but always remember, anytime I'm bringing you a current event, it could be true at any time, not only now or the past or even in the future. Okay. Because I like bringing events that tend to happen often to let you know that history likes to at least rhyme with itself, if not repeat itself. So our current event today is, unfortunately, we got some bad news from the economy. And the news that we received were regarding the unemployment, the initial claims for people that are out of a job. What was bad about this news is that, if for those of you that are on YouTube, you see that little tick there all the way at the end. That tick was showing that the jobless claims are as high as they were a year ago at 258,000. Now, some of you that are listening, you may be the ones affected. I know 3,000 people were laid off from CVS. I know GM had I think 1,400 or something like that. There was another car services manufacturer that let a bunch go. And there's also been a lot of tech jobs. A lot of folks in tech. I've been hearing from a lot of individuals in tech that they've been laid off. And so this does show a sign of the economy starting to weaken a bit. At the same time, we did get some good news from the inflation numbers. So the inflation numbers came out this week. Inflation is sitting at about 2.5 or 2.4%, which does lead us to believe. And for those of you that read the paper today, and today, just to tell you, I don't usually tell you this, but today is the 11th of October. If you read the paper today or yesterday, you found out that the inflation number was at 2.4%, and that Chase, JP Morgan, has announced the soft landing. Yes, they're saying they did it. So think I'm now, what I hear anytime I hear someone announcing that they did it, all I think is Bush and the mission accomplished. That's all I think of every time. I'm confident that if I'd spend some time in my Twitter or X feed, someone has already put what's his name, Jamie Dimon, in that, and superimposed him into that Bush photo to say mission accomplished. And we all know that Bush was horribly wrong about that mission being accomplished. So I don't know. Well, maybe Jamie Dimon's right, or his team is right. Maybe we did do the soft landing, but I tell you what, those unemployment numbers aren't looking too good. So we'll see what the rest of the year holds. And for those of you that have been paying attention, it is a bit of a spicy year in America. Why? Because we're doing our 4-year dance, and dance is, for those of you that watched the Olympics and you saw, or I don't think you had to watch the Olympics. If you were around in the summer of 2024 and you saw any highlights of the Olympics, you probably saw the breakdancing. And the young lady, I believe, was she from Australia? New Zealand? Yep. Australia. She was from Australia. How could I forget? She was from Australia. We'll just leave it there. The show's not about her. But Tom, tell me, what do the general sense of the economy, what is it saying to you as far as the unemployment numbers that are there, that inflation seems to cool down, interest rates have gone down a bit? How does that relate to your local economy and what you're seeing with your clients?
Yeah, the thing that I think is interesting is that, everything has these natural cycles that we go through. And people always want things to go up, or people always want things to be good. But when they are good, they can't just always be good, and they always can't be going up. And what I'm seeing, and it's surprised me over the last couple of years, we've had big events like COVID happen and everything since then. And to your point, in the US, we've got a lot going on right now. What has blown my mind is that it feels like things continuously are going up, and there hasn't been like that crash or that adjustment.
There hasn't. Even COVID. I mean, COVID was bad for some people.
Yeah,
it was bad for some people.
That you think would drop the market or drop real estate, everything's doing the opposite. So I'm sitting over here, one, really being glad that I have gotten this financial knowledge and am taking control of my future, but two, just waiting for that thing to drop and feeling really scared for a lot of people that unfortunately aren't in that position, and how they're going to be able to navigate when things aren't as good.
So now that you mentioned that, let's go ahead and segue into our little treat for today, because I'll preface it by saying that I was reading a Michael Kitces article It was Kitsis and Carl Richards, we like to refer to them as the financial advisor's financial advisor, or business financial advisor. So they do a lot of thought leadership and practical knowledge. And I'm also a guest speaker with Kitsis as well, in helping advisors think about their businesses differently and in a way to be better, to be more profitable, in order to be in business longer, because that's good for our clients. If we're doing well and doing things the right way, then that also bodes well for clients. That means we can serve more people for a longer period of time. Well, they had a conversation on their podcast, which financial advisor, listen in, make sure you go check that one out. Or if you're not a financial advisor, listen to it too. It's great. But in their podcast, they asked the question is, can your practice sustain a 20 to 30% downturn in the markets? And as I'm driving, listening to this episode, I had to sit there and do the math and start to think about it. Start to think about, what are my margins? And is there enough profit there that if the revenue went down by 20 or 30%, what would that mean for my business? What would it mean for my employees? What would it mean for how I'm able to show up for clients? Okay. And this is something that a lot of business owners have to think through. So being that Tom is here, Tom, you don't have to take that part of it, because I know you've got your own way of doing things. We just know that's something that's on my mind as we go into this. I've asked Tom to do a little mini coaching session with me, like he used to do for me a couple of years back. And so I'm going to be open, brutally honest, bare my soul here, because I know I love what Tom does and I know that he can do it well. So with that, I'm going to just be quiet, because now it's Tom's turn to basically interview me.
There we go. Well, Yohance, I'm so excited for this opportunity. And, the first thing we always look at is, what's the vision, right? Because from understanding what the vision is, then we can start to ask the right questions and make sure we're doing the right things to get there. So as you're sitting here today and you look out over the next couple of years, like, what are some of the elements in your vision? What are some of the things that you're looking to create, both personal life and business, for you?
Okay. Well, I want to start with personal life. I don't know if you can tell, you may not have heard the news. I got this little funky scar going on down here. I had to have my thyroid removed last year, or not last year. That was this year. It just happened. That was in March, April-ish. And it's made me take some stock on time. I gave a presentation a few days back, and one of the things I shared is that there's many things that we can invest. We can invest our money, and it's easy to go replenish that money as long as we're healthy and able to go work, go get some more money. We can invest our energy. And in most cases, as long as we're healthy, we get that energy back. Eat some good food, get some rest, energy's right back. But when it comes to time, that is the one purse or wallet or account we don't know how much is in it when we start spending it. So I've been giving a lot more thought to how I spend my time. So I did make one commitment, and I started back in March, is I'm going to follow my daughter's school calendar. If she's not in school, I am not meeting clients. Doesn't mean I won't work necessarily, but when I'm doing a little bit of desk work because she's on her iPad for a couple hours or whatever, or maybe she's with a friend, what have you, yeah, I might get a little work done, but I'm not going to give that time to where clients are controlling that time. So what did that do? That means I'm taking almost a month off throughout the year, because there's a lot of holidays when kids are in school. Now I am working towards building the summers in there as well. That's something I don't think can happen as quickly, but my goal is that by the time she gets to middle school, so I have 2 years. Yeah, by the time she gets to middle school, that I am taking summers off as well. So that will get me down to working 8 months out of the year. So that's first on the personal vision. As far as the business vision is concerned, we have definitely focused our intentions on our primary niche market, which are emergency doctors and the other medical employees that help serve them. So whether it be nurse practitioners, medical assistants, so people in the hospital setting. We still say yes to other doctors, but we focus most of our time on those. That's where I've had the largest impact. That's where I've been doing a lot of my time commitments to volunteer and to be able to help residents think about their finances differently before they start making all the money. And then as far as the team is concerned, getting Alicia to her CFP, she sits for that in November, and growing our team. We just brought on a new employee, but growing our team so that within 2 years, I'm not spending time writing financial plans anymore. If we want to put some numbers to that, our goal is to get to 100 million in assets. The goal is to do it this year. We're not going to quite make it, but I'm happy with the growth. So next year, it's no longer, it has to happen. So to get to 100 million in assets, and to grow the revenues over 1 million as well.
Beautiful. I love that. And what I can tell is that you have spent some time thinking about this and really prioritize what's important. And what I love about that is, most people are probably listening to this and they're like, wait, like summer's off, only work 8 months a year. Like, is that possible? Here's what I've come to learn. Everything is possible if we can, 1, see it, and then 2, believe that it's possible, because that's the vast majority of it. And then everything else is just figuring out how to get there. So I love the fact that you got that clarity. And I love the fact that you're very intentional about what you want, both in personal and business, because now that gives us not only the direction, but the container to operate within. So the next thing that I want to go to is I always look at, there's 3 kind of components to our success in the business. There's what the market is doing, because we need to make sure that we're serving a need in the marketplace. Then there's the business strategy, and how well are we doing strategizing the business to take advantage and support the marketplace. And then there's how we're doing as leaders, because the business can only grow to the level of leadership we have. So given that we started this out with current events, as you're looking at the marketplace over the next couple of years, what are the major shifts or opportunities that you see that you might be able to serve your clients in a way?
So I'm very excited that this is something I've spent a lot of time thinking about, where, to the Wayne Gretzky saying, where the puck is going versus where it is. And there was a time where, the financial advisor, his name was Nick Murray. He was the renowned person. And he said that one financial advisor can serve about 100, 125 households. I'm one financial advisor with a staff of 4. We serve 300. And part of that is because he wrote that in 1995. So with email and Zoom, I don't see clients face to face. Yeah, I'm doing Zoom meetings. I've seen how technology is putting me in a position to serve more people. So what is the next of where things are going? It's definitely the integration of the buzzword artificial intelligence, AI. It's integration of AI into what we do. We've already been using AI. We just didn't call it AI. When I manage portfolios, I figured out after doing some coaching, I needed something that could do that for me, so I don't have to do a lot of the heavy lifting, whether it's a person or a machine. Tried a person, went with machine. So it's also how that AI is going to integrate itself into being able to deliver more advice and be able to answer more questions in a faster way. I already lean on it right now. Part of it is trying to figure out how to teach my clients how to use it as well. Okay. So that's probably the biggest disruptor as far as growth opportunities, is that. And as far as disruptor where it could harm the business, is what I spoke of earlier, is volatile markets. And we've been in a bull market now. They're starting to say more of a secular bull market, because we had that little downtick, of course, in 2020, one of the fastest recessions we ever had, that March of 2020. Then most people kind of slept through it, but 2022 wasn't a great year. We were in a bear market all year. So if you started with 100,000 in the S&P at the beginning of the year, by the time you got to the end of the year, you had about 80 plus or minus, depending on a few factors. But still, that was a bit of a bear market. But since then, market's just been up. No matter what anybody says in the political arena, the market's been up. That's the fact. It has. So these good times don't always last. So when is the next downturn coming? And then what would that mean? For instance, my goal to get to 100 million. Well, if the market goes down by 20%, now all of my clients are going to lose 20% because they're not all just directly in the market. Lots of people have other products and different investments that aren't going to behave in the same way. But if I saw the market go down, if the market went down by 30, I could still probably see my clients' portfolios in aggregate go down by 15. So that's that's 150, no, 150, excuse me, $15 million. Is that right? No, 100, what did I say? 100 million? It's a lot of money. It's $15 million. There's numbers. Yeah, it's $15 million. Just poof, gone. So that could affect my ability to reach my goal. Okay. Which means to hit the goal, I just got to raise that much more, which means got to bring on new clients, which means I have to be able to give more advice, which means do I have the team to support that? And I'm already getting to the point where I'm turning clients away because I don't have the capacity. I mean, they say it's a good problem to have, but that's why I keep doing the podcast. I'm like, okay, let me make sure that these people at least have something, and maybe they can be in a position where I could work with them in the future. It's just right now in the financials, it doesn't make sense. Will I make money? Yes. But is it in their best interest? Probably not. And I don't want to get into a habit of breaking promises because I'm taking on too much. So I know it's a long answer, but that's what I see from the business standpoint. Implementing AI to grow, to do more. And then what if we hit a bear market or a recession? What would that do to my revenue and the assets?
Yep. And those are two huge things, right? Like obviously the cycles are something that you've always kind of had to deal with in the space that you're in. But AI is a very different disruptor. And, you make a good point. A lot of this stuff has been going on behind the scenes with companies for years.
Oh, for years.
People just didn't realize it until it became a little bit more mainstream lately.
Well, yeah, until it needed the name, it needed the AI. A calculator was once AI.
Yep.
Okay. A typewriter was once AI. Well, no, I won't say typewriter. The word processor. The word processor was amazing. I was born in the 80s. I had a word processor. I could sit there and type in up to, I forgot what it was, 10,000 characters. They hit a button and it just starts printing it off. That was AI. That was an artificial intelligence. I didn't know how it remembered everything I typed.
Yeah. And all of this is just technology. And what a lot of people don't realize is that technology is going to continue to advance. And the way that people are looking at AI right now, you can go back and look at, the internet or the television or the radio or whatever mechanism. And so it is really important for every business owner to be thinking about, okay, what is this going to mean for my industry? And then the way that you stated it really well, what challenges or opportunities is this going to create? Because we want to be able to, like the best quote I heard about AI is that AI is not going to replace jobs or humans. It's humans using AI that are going to replace it, right? And to your point, when we're looking at the business, what we want to do is basically say, what is AI or computers really good at? And let's hire AI to do those things. And then what are humans really good at? And let's hire humans to do those things. So
that's the position I'm in. I am
absolutely. And that's
because I am actually looking at these because there's so many AI tools that are probably so many companies that are integrating. And I went to a conference. I went to the Future Proof conference. If you're in finance, go to Future Proof. It's in Huntington Beach. Well, actually, it's going to be in Miami Beach soon, but thousands of people just like us. Great place to meet folks. But anyways, they had a whole marketplace, and it was just companies using AI to help us run our practices better. And the way I started looking at it, I said, wait, this is almost like making a hire. Like I have to treat that AI like a robot. I'm going to hire this robot to do this task because it does it very, very well.
Absolutely. And that's a great way to frame it, because if you think about today, we're already hiring technology to support us, right? Like you said, it used to be everyone was coming into the office with you. Well, now what are we doing? We're doing Zoom. So you're already hiring technology to support. AI is just the next advancement of that. So as you understand that the two major things for you are going to be the cycles of the market and what goes on, as well as AI is this like innovation piece, that then brings it to the business strategy. And at 2X, as you were alluding to, one of our favorite business strategy frameworks we call Model 1. And what we're basically asking and what everyone should be reviewing is, are you selling the right people? And we want those people to be niched, ones that have a big problem that you're really good at solving. Then we're looking at products. Are you selling them the right products that are going to solve their problem? And then we look at pricing. Are you selling it at a right price where you can have a profitable business to create all of the personal vision that you have, as well as that it's super valuable to them and the price they're paying is a great exchange for the value they're getting? And then we look at positioning. Are you setting up your positioning to be the expert to solve the problem? And then finally, we look at pathways. How are you getting in front of your people so that they understand and are aware that you exist and you can help them with that problem? So
I really enjoyed too, actually. So in my head, I'm just checking the boxes. I'm like, okay,
Well, I was gonna say, I just want
yes.
to give you a compliment. What's super cool is just by seeing your evolution over years, and even as you're talking about, you are continuously refining and niching down the people you serve so that you can make sure that you're serving the best people and you can give them the best products. Because I remember before you were serving a much wider variety, and now you're really honing it in, which then makes every other aspect of the model so much easier.
Yes. Yes.
So my
It's still
question,
hard though. It's
still
hard.
hard. And that's why I always tell people, I'm like, listen,
Still hard.
this is going to take it from playing it on hard mode to playing it on medium. Like, business is never easy, but with the right support we can make it easier.
True.
Right? So as we lay that out, and as I just shared those back with you, which of those seems like the biggest risk or opportunity for you to focus on from improving the business strategy?
It continues to be the right client, so the right customer, and at the right price. And I do the avatar work often, so I'm very comfortable with who the avatar is. It's just the blessing and curse of I've done a tremendous job of providing valuable service that makes me referable, and the referrals are coming. So I created a system is what I did, Tom. So when after 2X, I put together a system that I don't even run. All I do is talk about it sometimes. So I don't run the system. My team runs the system, and referrals consistently come in every single week to the tune of 4 or 5 a week. We just looked at the calendar for next week. We have 6 discovery sessions on the calendar, and half of them are all ideal candidates. None of them are non-ideal, but half of them are like ideal. So, which is exciting. And so but that just comes from, and again, I didn't touch any part of the system. Okay. So it's, so that has created a problem of I now tell more people no than to tell me no. And typically a person not working with me is because I've steered them in a different direction because the time value equation isn't there on both sides. For them, I mean, they'll love it, but I can't keep saying yes to all of those types of individuals. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's a really good spot to get to, right? Because, very often when we're starting the business or early on, we say yes to everything.
Fall
And
the
that actually
spoon,
makes
great.
it a lot more complicated, right? Because the delivery is more custom, more different. But as you said, everything starts with that avatar and continuously honing that in. And by doing that, you're going to be able to get more people referred in. And as you're working with more of the right people, that then takes it to the point where we can say, all right, are we serving them in a really good way? If so, our favorite strategy is do more of what works. But then the second thing that comes up here for me is looking at, there's this cycle that's going to go on, and there's this disruption that's going to come up from AI. So I would be looking at, I think you're really honed in with your products. And then to your point, pricing is always something to look at. I'd be curious about, how do your products change or enhance with AI to better serve this market?
Wait a minute. Just had a moment. Goosebumps. So, because if I look at my market as aggregate, how will AI help me better serve my ideal client? It just means I can get them to answers faster because I'm using the AI tool. Tom, I repeat myself to my clients. I say the same things over and over and over again. We just move the commas and the zeros. That's all that happens. But it's the same concepts that I'm preaching. And clients tend to have the same core questions: affordability of things, timing of things, and everything around that. So what AI is helping me do is, as I'm giving advice to clients, I'm capturing it so that I can package that and give it to the next client that has the same problem. So it's getting me to delivering my financial advice a lot faster because I built a template. And all right, I know all these things going on with Tom. I know the age of his kids, so I know I need to have education in there for the kids. I know he wants to retire at 50. I know the things I need to tell him about the risk of retiring at 50, whatever it may be, because I'm seeing a lot of people with the same problems because they're all my ideal client. So that's on one side. But the other thing that gave me the goosebumps was maybe it's about time for me to really consider the group sessions or even courses for those people that so that I can deliver more to more people without having. So even when it comes to using video, I mean, I can walk someone through how to build their own financial plan in a video and let them subscribe to the tool and just follow the videos, because the tool is there to where someone can be taught how to do it on their own. So that gives me an opportunity to allow that, to have something that can, like you said, as the market shifts, because here's the thing about the market shifting. This is the most frustrating part. Again, first world problems. It sounds silly even as I think it and say it, but I'm going to say it. Recessions drive new business. If I go back to my career, I started my career right after September 11th, recession. .com, September 11th on the other side. Got 40 something clients my first year. They were like, well, that's unheard of. Most people only get 20 something. All of us, anyone that started in the early 2000s that knew a little bit about what they're doing, we had some of the fastest growth they'd ever seen. Well, then we sat in the bull market 2007, 2008 hit, and 2008, 9, another recession. Man, the amount of clients we picked up in 09 and 10, because guess what? All the people are like, oh, wait, I don't know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I can't figure that out. Or I just lost my job. I need help or this, whatever. It drives people to us. Same thing during the COVID year. That was right after I was coming through 2X. I was like, oh man, new clients, this is easy. Everybody needs help right now. So I have this referral thing that's working. So if that got coupled with a recession of some sort, the amount of people looking for help is going to go up dramatically. And I'm not going to have the capacity to take them all on.
Absolutely. And that's where, when we come back to the strategy, there's a couple things there for me. So the thing you just talked about is really the positioning, right? Because even with 2X, and actually, let me take it back a second. One of the best lessons I learned is that, when everyone's doing one thing, look for the opposite. And so you talk about 07, 08, I actually started investing in real estate when everyone was struggling in real estate and everyone was telling me it was a bad investment. Right. And I look at every sort of recession or change, and change always brings about opportunity if we're aware of it. So for you already know that recession is going to drive people, because when things are going good, everyone thinks there's a genius, right? They're like, oh, I got this. I don't need support. So the fact that you already know that, you can be setting up your positioning and your messaging, that what you're putting out to the world, to help people understand that, so that then when things do shift, they're already aware of you, they already trust you, and then you can bring them in to support and solve the problem. The second thing that I'll say here that's really interesting for you, like, yes, courses and group and some of these things are going to be really good, and I would recommend looking into those. I want to bring it back to AI for a second, because if we think about AI, there's two things AI is really good at. One is processing a large amount of data and making sense out of it. And that's going to be huge for you in your field, to be able to take all that data in. And then second is actually training it. And right now, a lot of us, like if we're using ChatGPT or something like that, we're maybe giving it some data and having it processed.
I've got to close. I've created a closed loop. I make sure I'm feeding it with.
Beautiful. Because that's the thing. If we think about like pre-AI, what do? Well, we have all this data. We try to read it, or we have our team members read it, and we try to make some, information out of it, and so we can make some decisions. And then as we bring a new team member on, what do? We spend a lot of time trying to train that team member so that they think and act the way that we would, or the way that our systems say. That is a very hard thing to do in a lot of cases. But guess what? When we talk about the jobs that AI does well, we can feed it a lot of data. And as we have these models or these ways that we run the business, we can actually train AI on that. So it doesn't have to be us having 20 years of expertise, but the AI can actually do that. So I think that's the big opportunity for you, is because you have a certain way of running the business and supporting clients. One, you're able to feed it data, and two, you're able to train it on what you would be doing so that it can take a lot of that heavy lifting off of your plate. And what's super cool about this is, not only does this allow you to serve more clients, it actually could allow you to serve them in a cheaper price, if that makes sense, because it doesn't cost you as much to deliver. And then the final thing is you're ultimately going to get them better results because an AI is going to be able to do that way faster than you could or somebody that you ultimately train.
Yeah, I was just thinking about some of the things that my AI doesn't have yet, along those lines, on because even kind of going back to the whole courses thing, and I'm thinking about, I wasn't even thinking about, well, in the beginning I was thinking about a course that I could sell or something that I could sell that people could get access to, and I've seen a lot of advisors do that and have some level of success. But I also just thought, to your point, is, for instance, I have a lot of clients that want to buy their first home, and they don't understand the maximum that they can borrow. They don't understand interest rates. They don't understand just the system that I use. Because I use a system to figure this out. I first show them the math on what's the most that they can afford. I got a calculator for that. Here it is. Then I send them to Zillow. Like, let's go to Zillow and let's find something that you'd want to buy. And let's take it back to the calculator. Let's see how much that would cost. Let's go look at your credit score. Now let's look at your cash flow. But all of that could be AI. I could train my AI to take someone through those steps.
Mm-hmm.
So that then on my website, for my client website, like, here's what you have access to. You can go and ask that AI, I'm planning my first home, buying my first home. Walk me through some of the things I should be thinking about. And all they're going to get is the same thing that I would have given them in that session.
Correct. And that is the gold. Because if we think about the numbers that advisors used to be able to, support, what was it, 125 you said?
125, yeah.
Okay. So the numbers are up now because you guys are able to leverage technology. Now imagine you've got Yohance AI. And it's like, ask Yohance. And just to your point, instead of you physically having to be there because you're doing the same things over and over again and solving the same problems, imagine you're consistently training AI on this. And now somebody can feed in their information and what they need. And it's essentially giving them back the same way that you would respond.
Interesting.
Now, how many people can you serve?
I'm going to go with more. Final answer. Absolutely. So, hey, I for a minute there, Tom, I forgot we were recording a podcast. So apologies to everyone if that just went a little long, but that was golden, man. See, and I've even picked something up. Now I got something to have some fun with. This, I've said it before. If you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur and you have not worked with a business coach, consider working with one. If you like Tom, he is one. I've said to you before, if you want to copy one of the books, just let me know. Happy to send it out. Someone did ask for a 2-week vacation test. I just got it. So I will send that to you. I got it. Sorry, it got lost in the email. It did. But yeah, 2X. That book is somewhere back there on my shelf. I haven't given them all away. I might have given them all away.
Yeah. We always give more away.
I still have from 6 to 7 figures back there, though.
There we go.
Oh, that was the original. So that was the first one that
the white
was
one.
a part of, 6 to 7 figures, and I am almost there. I'm almost there. I told y'all I was going to take the slow path. By the way, and I wanted to share something with the people. Tom, Austin, and I, we butt heads on this so big. Their company is called 2X, and I was like, guys, I don't, 2X is cool, but that's not what I need to do. I need systems. I'm okay with growing slow. Even they looked at the numbers. They're like, well, you do that. That makes a lot of money. Just do more of that. I was like, no, that just happened to happen. I don't want it. That's not what I wanted. We had to come to an agreement to how I wanted to grow. Once we were in agreement, they gave me all the tools I needed. And that's all I've been doing since is growing. Okay. And for me, growing by 20% a year, I'm good. That's been my average. On average, since I've done 2X, I've grown at 20% a year. I'm good with that.
And that's what it's really all about, and what we started this conversation with, right? Like, what's your vision? Because, one of the challenges a lot of us have is that, we set a goal and then we hit it and the goalposts move and they keep moving. And that's a trap a lot of entrepreneurs fall into. And what's beautiful about you, Yohance, is that you're super clear on what you want. And right now, and in the next couple of years, it's, hey, getting that school schedule, getting to the 8 months, like spending time being a father, right? And so as a result, we always want to plan to 2x the business. The big variation is, what is the time frame for that? And everyone's time frame is different, right? So for everyone listening out here, really the key thing is, what do you want? What's the time frame for it? And then let's be intentional about building a plan that will support you in getting there while living life and enjoying everything along the way.
Indeed. Well, I have to say before you go, we got to do it quick, or else I get yelled at by the one or two fans that we have on the Twitter sphere, or X sphere, whatever you want to call it. Tom, we ask all of our guests to share with us your first memory of money. So Tom, what is your first memory of money?
My first memory of money, I'm going to say it's probably at the grocery store. Going there with, my parents getting the weekly groceries and then seeing the exchange of money for food. And, really, I think what that led for me was like, oh, if I have money, I can exchange that for things I need.
Yes, indeed. I highly recommend for those of you that want to learn more about just money in general. It's a hard one, I will say, even for me, because there's a lot of stuff in it. But the book is called Debt. Cannot remember the author right now, but we'll put the link in the show notes. It's really a great historical perspective on debt and what it is. And surprisingly, it is what Tom just said. I pointed that way. That's the wrong way. That way. Anyways, we had some camera issues when we started. So with that, thank you all for joining us on the Money Script podcast. Always great to be with each and every one of you and share with you some financial strategies. Today, we did some business strategies. I just poured my heart out to Tom. I appreciate you, Tom. That was fun to talk about out loud. That's also part of goal planning and goal achievement. For those of you that are familiar, is saying your goals out loud and having someone that can help hold you accountable. Just putting that stuff out into the universe, because sometimes you just got to get it out of your head. And you heard me again. It wasn't rehearsed. You heard how that kind of flowed off the tip of my tongue for me, is because it is near and dear. I don't have my journal. It's over there. These are the things I journal about. I write this stuff down. I keep a Post-it note that shows all of the goals that I want to achieve for the quarter. I'm a little late. This was quarter 3, so I got to write quarter 4. I was a little behind, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to write my Q4 goals, and it's going to sit right here on top of the Apple, because I already own the Apple. I don't need to know it's Apple. I want my goals to sit there. So it's going to sit there, and I'm going to see them every day. They're going to look at me and say, what are you doing? Is that in line with your goals? Then why are you doing it? So with that, we'll see you next time on the Money Script podcast. Do your friend a favor, just one of them, just one. Send this to one person. Just one. See you next time.
I'm back. Wasn't that a great show? I hope you learned something. I know I did. Now, before you go trying anything you heard today, remember, it is not intended to be specific tax or legal advice. If you need that, go see a CPA or an attorney. If you would like any complimentary consultation with a knowledgeable advisor, visit moneyscript.com and schedule a 15-minute consultation. Want Yohance to come speak at your next event? Go to the Money Script website for that too. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. MoneyScript Wealth Management is a registered financial advisory service in multiple states. Want to learn more? Get the full disclosure on our website, moneyscript.com.